Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTA number 19, episode 19, for the 25th of September 2018. My name is Mosen, and the topics today are getting clams out of the sea without drowning. No. The topics are content plans. Oh yes. See, I'm not getting any blue pearls here. Content plans for the channel. Heroic system in Burning Crusade. Just as an idea for the classic runs, maybe. But that will go into a longer series in the next video. And what I heard about BFA. Is that a topic? I guess. Drama and rumors. Ladies and gentlemen, drama and rumors. And also a shout out. And that's basically the content for today. So let's jump into the first one. We got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff for the coming days. I'm trying to get blue pearls here. You might know this quest. By the way, gold tip for you right here. If you're a druid, fish the golden pearls. Sell them. If you really don't know what to do, good low level gold income. They'll sell for quite a bit, because they're really rare and a pain in the ass to get, as you can see. Right, content plans for the channel. So I've been thinking about which direction I want this channel to go, and if I'll have the time to stream and do all the videos. And I think I really find it a lot of fun. I just need to make a commitment to this channel and to also actually do it, right? Because let's face it, if I want to make content here, then it's got to be out, and I can't be away for 3 months and because I'm raiding anymore. So that's gonna change. So stuff will be out, and you can count on the content coming out. So that is something that I wanted to get out there, and more specifically, I will be reviving the Legacy podcast. I mean, we did a new episode there with Nakrish where we talked a little bit. That is number 7. You can check that one out. It's up. That has been the podcast that we've been doing that podcast way before. Before Asfand actually made his channel. So he did really awesome. That's really good for him. And we did that podcast before that, but then kind of fell asleep. That's pretty cool that he picked that up. So if you want to check out the Legacy podcast, it's up on this channel as well. And there's a lot of older episodes. That one's going to continue, and it's going to change a little bit switch a little bit away from talking about the already known stuff. Just more into a kind of diary podcast. When official servers will be out, it's going to be pretty interesting to see like what we're doing with the guild and all that sorts of stuff. And there will be more detailed lore tips or like spotlights for guilds, for shoutouts, and as soon as the community is a bit bigger. What happened here? Did you see that? Light turned off underwater. So that will be on here as well. So the Legacy podcast will go from a just talking about stuff podcast, because I think that's it's all been there for many times now, and we'll go more into the we'll have different spotlights, and there will be tips in there and things you can check out, because I mean even to this day I'm finding, I know this game in and out, but sometimes I still find, now playing Horde, I still find new spots and quests and places that are really interesting for me, that I didn't even know they existed in the game. So that's going to be some spotlights, guild spotlights. You can have shoutouts in there and all sorts of things, and that combined with a normal podcast, right? And that all in like a 1.5 hour thing, so it's not, you can actually listen to that without your ears falling off, because I really do like what Aspen does. I think the 3-hour formats, probably it's just because he had the ex-developers there, but like 3 hours is just split that into 2 parts. But anyway, yeah, so that's gonna be Legacy podcast with a lot of spotlights and cool stuff in it. The MTA is gonna continue just as a Vanilla WoW daily show. You can count on that all the time. And I will focus on guides, making guides and showing you small things that we can, or you can check out and always learn some new stuff that goes from in-depth. I think the next one is going to be an in-depth Prot Warrior and Resto Druid guide, because Resto Druid is actually really hard to play, and Prot Warrior, you know, stack defense is not the answer to your problems, and you'll die a lot if you have 1k hit points, but a lot of defense. So Legacy podcast upgraded, MTA continues, guides and tips for you to do, and then I'll probably see what else I can get into, but I want to focus on these 3 things first, and then we can see what other games we're gonna play, what what the future brings. Okay, so that out of the way. If you're here for the first time, of course we appreciate subscriptions, but yeah, feel free to check our content or my content out before you do so. I still appreciate a like or share, and what I really appreciate in the MTA series, this one is most importantly questions or drama stories or stupid stories that happened to you, right? Or you made a fool out of yourself, and we're not gonna laugh about people or anything, but we can talk about the stuff that concerns WoW. So then, let's jump to the next topic. That would be heroic dungeons, or the heroic dungeon system in general, from Burning Crusade. And why I got that topic, I was talking with a friend yesterday about how, you know, what's gonna, I mean, this is gonna be a topic for another video anyway. You know, what's gonna happen in WoW when, the old question, what's gonna happen when Naxx is clear, or is there gonna be any more support? Because Blizzard going into this classic server thing is a big investment, and I just can't see that they're just gonna let it rot once Naxx is out and then hype fresh. They might do that, I don't know, but one thing that I really liked about the heroic dungeon system in Burning Crusade, and I don't necessarily think this is something for classic, I just think that this was a good system that they had, where you could, you know, it was kind of a pre-thing from Mythic Key Dungeons. Now I know a lot of people really like Key Dungeons. I think it's a really smart system, right, to keep people interested in 5-man dungeons. I think for vanilla, this would, you know, there would probably be enough to just have a heroic version to try yourself out or get more gold or something. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't really have to be in classic. But the cool thing about heroic dungeons and Burning Crusade was that you had to get the reputation there. That was medium cool. That was like you know, grinding a rep. I mean, I think Honored would have done it as well, but you would get a key and then you could access the harder mode, and I think that's a pretty cool idea. That is pretty grindy also in regards to vanilla. They could fit, and then you would be able to get the key for the heroic version of a dungeon. And for me that was always pretty cool, because at the end there were like epic loots, and there weren't too many epic loots either, right? So it wasn't being inflated still. And there was just a really cool system, I think, and a lot of people really liked it. The just this you'd have to grind the dungeon out and get to know it, and most importantly, the key point I'm trying to make for this system was the difficulty. And this was really, of course, like at the end of Burning Crusade, it wasn't that hard anymore, but at the start it was really, you know, it was something. It was pretty damn hard to beat those dungeons in a timely manner, and that was a system that I really liked. It was something that, you know, a lot of people enjoyed, and I mean, the Mythic Plus key whatever system is also pretty interesting thing. I just don't understand why there needs to be a normal heroic and mythic dungeon difficulty, but you know, that's up to them, and that's just a done deal. So I was thinking the heroic system was a really great addition, because also of the like the one or the epic loot table for the end bosses, right? Because it was so freaking hard. It was also a really cool guild activity. Now this was something that we really enjoyed in the guild because you could do it with 5 people. You know, there were a lot of good blue loots. There were a lot of good craftable items or recipes, I think, also. And in the end, there was an epic loot table for the end boss, and there were some really pre-raid bis, or yeah, basically pre-raid bis items in there. They were epic, and that was a cool thing to do with 5 people. And I can really see that coming back. If that's anything, I doubt it's gonna come into vanilla, because vanilla's probably just gonna stay how it is, and that's a good thing. But I don't know, I just like that system, and you know, having like a harder version of a raid is always a good thing. Now you could ask why I don't like heroic and mythic instances of, or LFR instances of the raid then. Well, that's because you don't need to have 5 difficulties for that stuff. I think it only goes so far, and I think, you know, having a baby mode and normal mode, and then which is also a baby mode, and then heroic, which is kind of a normal mode, and then a mythic, which is the challenging mode, is just a little bit too much. What I think is, you know, 5-man dungeons are what they are, and for people that have been playing this game much longer and love it, it'd be very interesting to have really strong, unforgiving, tuned up versions for this, where you could take the gear that you actually have and need for those 5-mans to get something, you know, either it's worth prestige, right? Something that people can't get, or you don't really get a lot of gear aside from the bosses, or you don't get gear from the bosses at all, and you get some sort of status symbols or whatever. But there's a lot of things you can think about. But I just really like the heroic 5-man dungeon system for that matter, and I wouldn't mind something along those lines coming back as custom or as content after Nax has been cleared, or additional patch. The Classic, that it's a whole other question what they're gonna do with Classic once it's out and has been running for a while, because if they're making that investment, is there gonna be any more patches or, you know, any new stuff to it, right? I'm not talking about like BFA style content, but new content that fits the vanilla theme, right? Is there gonna be like are they gonna open up closed zones? It's a topic that really grinds my gears a lot of times, and that's why I talk about it so much. But I don't know, I could see like a really hard version of Stratholme, or a timed run of Stratholme, or like an actual timed run. Not this. It doesn't matter if you're not on the quest timed run. You know, something cool, just like something, or Upper Blackrock Spire in a really hard mode, where you know, you can't kite Dracasath or something, and all that good stuff, right? Just give them a little bit more abilities, and whatever the case, whatever they drop, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Right, BFA. BFA has been out for a while, and there's a lot of first summary videos, because the next patch is about to hit soon, and the information was leaked, or given out by Blizzard, of what the next patch is going to be about. I must say what they're planning sounds really cool to me, but like the general feedback that that I've heard from a couple of YouTubers, like I think Trade Chat made a video about it, Bellular of course. Those guys said, first of all, the personal loot system is still an issue, and I think, you know, I'm not gonna say I told you so the whole time, but that was pretty obvious to anyone, I think. And she said that basically they were raiding, and there was like a polearm that dropped, and she could have needed it as an upgrade, and the hunter that got it basically didn't have one that was higher item level, but the stats for him were better. Like his old one was better for him because of the stats that were on it, but technically the one that he got was like 2 or 3 item levels above that, and so he couldn't trade it over to her. And that's exactly what people said, right? And there were people that didn't want to have, or I think the idea behind that was that Blizzard didn't want to have people channeling a lot of gear onto those 1 or 2 people. As you know, the whole discussion with the split raids, you spread your main raid out into a lot of split raids, and then those people channel a lot of gear onto those, you know, key players, and they then get together for the progression race. If I understood that correctly, I think that's kind of generally the idea, and that's why they didn't want to have the master loot anymore, and they wanted to go to personal loot, so you couldn't take your ults and push that one character, your main character, through a raid, gear, channel all the gear onto him, and then basically, you know, have more loot created. But the thing is, if you're doing all that struggle to do that, why not? Why the hell not, right? And now you can really see the issues that it's like, it feels personal, it feels so browser gamey, and I don't know why that is, but it just feels so much like a browser game now, from what I hear. Obviously, I'm not playing Battle for Azeroth. It's really itching in my fingers to go and try it out, to have more ideas of what's going on, especially also for the lore. But yeah, it feels that, just imagine, you know, Scholomance, and then someone gets, you know, someone just gets the Darrrowshire swords. Great, you didn't get him, sorry. Somebody else got him. Just gotta deal with it now. And even if he already has them, right, can't trade them over. No more loot master. That seems like a bullshit change to me, and it just really shows that you're just dumbing everything down to the point because there's some people whining. It's, you know, Total Biscuit already said, don't cater to the whiners and entitled people that are never happy. They're never gonna be happy anyway. And, you know, only having personal loot, I don't understand. That was always a fun part, having like a master loot, and there was be like, you know, a hype about that item. Okay, it dropped, and who's gonna get it, and are we gonna roll for it, are we gonna bid DKP? Is the loot council gonna say something? And then you would get it or not, or you know, you would make arrangements with your teammates. Hey, this item, it just hyped the item up as well. Anyway, that's gone, and it doesn't seem to work out pretty well. The next one was the Azerite system. You know, you got a necklace, you probably know that by now. And you get a necklace and you charge that with the Azerite you find. And it's somehow tied to the reputation also. I don't get it why, because I'm not playing it. So I'm not gonna make any stupid comments about it. But I already saw, when I first saw, that's the reason why I didn't play BFA. Check out the MTA about the BFA, why I decided not to try it. Things can always change, you know. I get the feeling that I really need to play it, but I saw that Azerite and I just thought that's the new legendary and you need to charge it, and they're just putting it into the necklace slot so you can actually get weapons again, which is awesome. But the Azerite system, I mean, I don't understand why it's there, really. I really don't understand why it's in place, why it's in the game. It's just an artificial new talent thing that basically, you know, you can already see what you're going to have soon, and then you just grind that one out. And I don't know, it's just a cheap excuse for content for me. And they've been doing that for many times in the past, and of course there's always like kind of recycling or making a quick thing or a good idea that sounds good on paper, right? Like you go through the world and you find the Azerite, and then you charge your necklace, you get stronger. And that, you know, I think the grind is actually kept, but it's not as bad as artifact power. I just don't understand why they need it. And from what I've heard, nobody really likes it because it's really straightforward, and you have like a tree of 1 or 2 tiers and charge it up. But you know, each their own. I just don't like it, and I already knew that people wouldn't really like it. No new abilities from what I hear. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but there's not many new abilities, while that, you know, can also be okay, because just adding something new for the hell of it, so you have more buttons to smash, is not necessarily the ultimate way to go. And having more buttons to smash doesn't make the game more deep by any means. And if you think that, then I don't know. That's just not true. Even in Legion or in previous expansions, there's been so many abilities and mechanics that have been so useless because you just spam the other button that was pretty similar to the other one, and you would think, why is it in there if it does the exact same thing, just has a different name. The war mode is I think that's a cool thing. That's something that I can see was just not possible probably back in the day, and that's why they made PvP PvE servers, because that's something that I can see really makes sense. So you basically turn on your PvP or turn it off, and if you have your PvP turned on, you get phased into a into that one. There's two phases, people on and off, and I can see why that makes sense. I can also see why that doesn't make sense for vanilla, because for vanilla it's a little different story, because you have where do I want to go? Oh yeah, Badlands. Now I can also see why that doesn't make sense on the sound here, because what you want to have in what's it called? In vanilla is that you want to have a server community, right? And you want to have a living community. So that means if you choose, as soon as you start phasing in and out, people, I think that will become a problem for the player base of vanilla, because people don't want phasing altogether, because you want to be able to meet people. What I can see though is why that doesn't make sense for retail, because you want to have the people that don't. Simple example, like we tried to do a quest yesterday in Arathi Basin, in Arathi Highlands, and you need to go into that alliance base where there's a lot of elites, and you just do that elite quest and it's fun and all, and then like this one rogue comes there and ganks you. That's fun one time, and that's a PvP server, and that's how it is. Even the second time you can say, okay, let's wait until he's gone and let's wait a bit, take a small break, and then do it again. But that guy literally stood there for 1.5 hours griefing that one group and the other. And you just think, I'm a big fan of PvP. It doesn't matter to me, right? But other people really hate that kind of stuff. And, I couldn't convince them to stay and say, well, that's how it is. And so I could see, turning that off as a low-level player, and then you could at least not get ganked all the time by 60s, because that doesn't make sense. Then again, it takes away from the vanilla spirit, really. But it's a good idea for vanilla. I can see that. And then all the people that want to do PvP would be able to see each other. Heritage armors with lore, that's something cool that I think they brought in. Makes sense. See, like that's something that they could probably have like a posing armor for. I'm not talking about transmog, just something that you can wear. I don't know, just make a new tabard for it, and make an upgraded armor or something that you can wear while in town that has like basic stamina stats or something, or that gives you run speed or something, right? That you can travel the world a little bit faster or something. All that good stuff. So heritage armor on retail is going to be the armor that looks specifically tuned for your race, basically, the allied races. And you're going through like a long quest chain where they explain the lore. I like that as well. I think quests that explain lore and give like a little bit of gold as a chain reward or something is something that they could implement in Hyjal, for example, for Classic when they introduce that. When you could have like a long chain, like a fucking long chain, that explains a lot of the lore behind the game, because a lot of people, I think, would be very interested in that if it was narrated properly. And then at the end you get some sort of item that, you could, I don't know, just something fun. A thing that you have in your bag and it permanently increases your swim speed or something. So you name it, just some cool ideas, right? That gives you a sprint or something, or a potion that recharges or something. I don't know. And that would give you a little bit of gold and that. Those are things that wouldn't necessarily touch the gameplay in itself, right? So because in Classic it's always dangerous if you introduce new stuff that will change the game, the slippery slope. That's a good guild name, Corkrun Poo Poo Pee Pee. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's my. I just wanted to give you, an update in case you're not really following the whole Battle for Azeroth stuff. But my thoughts on that. I'm thinking about going into it again. I don't want to make this video too long though, because last ones have been quite long. Yeah, as I said, you will hear more from me in the next time, and it's going to stay this way. So thank you very much for the continuing support. Appreciate it a lot. Like really a lot. And want to give a shout out to Asfan for his awesome channel, that he really did it, because I remember him with 50 subs and I already liked him because he was living the red dream with me, and I thought finally someone that takes it to the masses, right, like Jesus. And also to Drakova, and Drakova agreed to be on the next podcast, Legacy Podcast number 8 with us, so get ready for a lot of Paladin action. And he will be on that one. He raided with us, and I'm happy to see him on there. So thank you very much. Legacy is going to return. Check out our other videos. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Tschüss.